Puma for inviting me once again. I think it's the third time, right? I'm speaking to your members, mostly your members. And I would like to say that, did I look any older from 2001 just now? My fear last night was, having come here twice and launched in Puma way back, I was afraid I'd be wearing the same dress. From that day onwards, I shudder to think, did I wear the same dress? I didn't, right? Otherwise, people say I'm short dresses. And I would like to say thank you once again for inviting me. I'm so sorry to have inconvenience in Puma and also some of you who came the other day, because I had to have a really unscheduled surgery. The schedule was 11th August, but they had to advance it to 3rd August. I had a stomach additions, which is a major surgery. Actually, it's my 7th surgery for the same problem. And I spent 5 days in CCU and 3 weeks in the ward. And I had just been discharged, maybe 2 weeks ago. And I still have my wounds, which are being treated every alternate day. So I am happy that I'm able to make it today. Well, you mentioned about you had colorful speakers in the past. Please, I don't want to be a colorful speaker. You know, the word colorful is not very complimentary, you know. Court jesters are colorful, so be careful. Those people that you invited, be careful, choice of words. You call them distinguished, they'll be very happy. Colorful, no. Seriously, I don't want to be a colorful speaker for the wrong reasons. But anyway, I'm happy today that I'm here, and you have given me this topic, the role of education in the development of youth towards nation building. And I would like to congratulate University Malaya especially for allowing others outside of the campus fraternity to be exposed to what you're doing. And I must say that on record, it is our Pak Ungku who led this crusade. Because when I was a lecturer way back in the early 70s, he once called me and said, Rafidah, would you please go and teach Malaysian economics to 3rd-year medical students? I said, Pak Ungku, medical students? I mean, Malaysian economics, yes. You do this for that period that they are in having courses, I don't know how many months was that, and you go to their medical faculty and then tell them about Malaysian economy, tell them about rural economy, so that when they go and serve in the rural areas, they know what they're talking about, they know what to expect. So here I was talking to 3rd-year medical students. Can you imagine? I was very young, and the medical students are, maybe older than I, or kind of bigger than I. And then, at the end of the day, when I went to hospital, especially University Hospital, Kuala Lumpur Hospital, there was a doctor who was doing some procedure on me. Urinary tract infection procedure. And nicely, casually says, by the way, Datuk Sri, I was your student before. I clamped up. Here is a doctor doing procedure on me and saying, I'm your student. I actually couldn't recall that I taught this batch of 3rd-year medical students. So when you say that you're exposing this to students and to other people outside the fraternity, it's very useful indeed, because we don't want to be regarded as living in an ivory tower, syok sendiri among ourselves. So, today, the role of education in development of youth towards nation building. Now, I would like to split this topic into 3 components so that you can see my trend of thought here. Firstly, that component of nation building. The second one is youth. And the third one, role of education. And I want to begin by talking about nation building first, the last topic, or the last item of the topic first. Now, for Malaysia, essentially, nation building is about post-Merdeka. Because before that, we didn't have a nation. We were colonial, we had colonial masters above us. So nation building started post-Merdeka. And it was nation building in 2 contexts, both the physical nation building and the non-physical. Some people talk about nation building only in the physical term, the statistical terms, GDP, blah, blah, blah. I would prefer to talk about physical and non-physical, the visible and non-visible. And it is also about unifying our people as Malaysians. That was what nation building started as. And then when we have that nation building as a people, as Malaysians, we can remain, hopefully, both socially and politically viable and also strong over the long term. So that was the essence of nation building post-Merdeka. And certainly, when you talk about nation building, if you talk about the physical aspects of nation building, it's got to do with building the necessary infrastructure, which of course now you see, and the systems that are being built, whether it's the financial systems, the systems that govern the marketplace and so on. These systems and infrastructures are there and will continue to be there and to be added on for economic and social development, and also for social, economic, and political governance. So that's what the nation building is all about. You cannot have nation building without infrastructure there, the physical infrastructure and the systems infrastructure. And we hope that through that kind of infrastructure building on a continuous basis, starting from the first 5-year plan, which I recall very vividly, until now, the 11th and so on, and the longer-term plans, as we have new economic policy, and then the industrial master plan that carried on for 10 years. Through these plans, purposely designed plans, we hope that the physical infrastructure and systems will continue to be improved so that nation building can be at a higher pace and relevant to what the global environment demands. And as I've said earlier, parallel to that physical and visible nation building is the non-physical and non-visible nation building that's got to do with the people, with us, the people who are Malaysians. And this has got to do with our values, our norms and attitudes. It's got to do with our mindsets and our perceptions. And it's got to do with the principles that we uphold in our lives. And that to me is the most important part of nation building now and for the future. Why? Because the infrastructure build-up in terms of physical assets are already there. Just fine-tuning, adding on. But we are having new generations of Malaysians coming now into the system. These are the qualities that we need to preserve and build upon, the non-physical aspects. And I would like to emphasize on the core values and principles that cut across every group, every individual, and every race, every creed. In other words, every level of strata and strata of society. The same core principles must exist. The same threads must exist. And these are, for example, every core value and principle that can be translated into governing of social units such as families, governing organizations, governing politics, governing businesses, governing universities, governing education systems. Now, if the same core values are pervasive, we are set to be the kind of nation that all of us can be proud of for the future. For example, every one of us have our own circle of influence. Sometimes we tend to forget. We look upstairs and say, he there, up there, the power, the leader. I said, no. We all have our own circles of influence. Break down all the titles. What are you basically? You are a son or a daughter. So your circle of influence are your siblings. If you are a father or mother, then your circle of influence is your whole family. If you are a teacher, your immediate circle of influence is from your family, you extend to the classroom. If you are a lecturer, then extend to the unit. So in other words, everybody has a circle of influence. So when I talk about core values and principles pervasive across every strata of society, it means that it doesn't matter what you are, whether you're prime minister or you're just anybody, or even somebody who has no job, a lady of leisure or a man of leisure, retired. Like me, I'm a lady of leisure, okay, I'm retired. Not that living leisurely life, but retired. Of course, Tan Sri Ayub can be called a retiree also, but very active retiree, the two of us. Still, our circles of influence are still there, right? So if you take cognizance of these circles of influence, you must remember the core values must prevail, because this is the non-physical aspect of nation building. Now, what are the values I'm talking about? This is relevant to these current times that's causing a lot of disturbance for us. Last night, I gave a 2-hour talk and dialogue session to the Ivy League students about this. One is integrity and trustworthiness. I personally place a high premium on integrity and trustworthiness. If you don't have integrity and don't have trustworthiness, please don't talk. Don't talk. I don't care what you say. If there is nothing that proves that you have integrity and trustworthiness. Because to me, integrity and trustworthiness is the key to everything. It's the key to decision-making anywhere, for that matter. Decision-making in the home, in the university, decision-making in schools, decision-making in the education ministry, decision-making in government, in cabinet. No integrity, no trustworthiness, you make the wrong decisions. It is also the key to motivation. If you don't have integrity, you're not motivated to do the right thing. It is the key to action. If you're not motivated, you don't have integrity, then you won't do the right thing, for sure. Because there's nothing to pull your conscience, doesn't prick you. So in any situation in life, integrity and trustworthiness is key. We can talk about it later, what you want to ask me, but I'm just saying that is key to everything, as far as I'm concerned. Secondly is discipline. If you don't have discipline, it's very difficult. If you want to have a nation that's strong, a nation that's where the people are strong and have the kind of right motivation, of course, high integrity, but they're not disciplined, they go haywire. Of course, not much use. You may be the right, very straight, ramrod, straight, but you're not disciplined. You don't know how to manage your time. You don't even know how to manage yourself. You don't even know how to manage people. So you may be the best CEO, you may be the best of everything, but you can't manage because you don't have the discipline. The third one is responsibility. This is responsibility for yourself. Responsibility for decisions and actions that you take, and also responsibility for society. This is about civic responsibility. And it includes also respect for yourself and for others. Just now, Khadijah talked about a strawberry. This is the first time I'm hearing. Strawberry means what? I don't know. Strawberry easily bruised? I think mangoes are easily bruised. I don't care what you call yourself, but if you don't have integrity, very easily bruised lah. If you don't have discipline, you'll be very easily bruised. Call yourself strawberry or raspberry, doesn't matter. You know, if you don't have those qualities, you will be easily bruised. In fact, you bruise yourself if you don't have integrity, correct? You don't have discipline. People don't have to bruise you. You bruise yourself because you're doing the wrong things. So, when you talk about responsibility in Malaysia and respect, it is in the context of the Malaysian diversity. I can't speak enough about this. Last night, I went on and on. For example, we've been told to tolerate our diversity since I was young. And I keep saying that's the wrong word to use. Never ask people to tolerate diversity, to accept diversity. It's there. Tolerate means, you know, for so long as I can tolerate you, it's like marriage, you know. When you're all in love, you tolerate each other's nonsense. Another spring chicken comes your way, and you don't tolerate anymore. The slightest thing will cause friction, correct? But if you accept, you know, he's got a wart on his nose, he's got some funny behavior, she's got some funny quirks, you accept it. So you live life together, till death do us part. You understand what I'm trying to say between tolerance and acceptance? So next time some politician tells you, let's accept our tolerance, you please stand up and say, excuse me, sir or madam, accept the tolerance. For as long as you just learn to tolerate, this is what's going to happen. Yellow shirt against red shirt, and very soon it'll be purple against green and what have you. We still have a lot of colours, you know. On the rainbow, there's 7 colours. We don't know, some crazy idiots will come up with a purple colour pula. I don't know what they want to stand for. Because I can't tolerate the red, I cannot tolerate the yellow, so I want to come with my own purple. It is simple. Acceptance that comes with the respect is because we know we are different in terms of religion, culture, creed, so many differences. But we don't have to harp on the differences, accept that as being the norm of Malaysia. And once we accept it, we then accept and respect the differences. And this the youth will have to learn. My era, Tan Sri Arshad's era, we didn't recognize Chinese or Indian. You know, my mother and father, they go to the shop and they call them, you know, Anjang. Look at the tall Chinese shopkeeper. Mana ada Malay shopkeeper dulu? Anjang, Gumok. And we call them by nicknames. And they call us by nicknames because such good friends. You know, I mean, we didn't realize that they were Chinese or Indian or we were Malays. We're just customer and shopkeeper and we're friends. Boleh utang pula tu. Utang. I know, I was the one who writes in the little pukul 35, dah berapa beli beras hari ni. Anjang berapa? I would say, Anjang, yeah, tall, but we call him Anjang. What can I do? I don't want Uncle Anjang. Anjang lah, I was only standard 2, standard 3. Anjang, Gumok macam mana? Berapa satu kati gula? No kilo. No? So in other words, that was a culture we were brought up in. And today, you have people really identifying themselves very narrowly. Last night I explained to the Ivy League students, I said, you know, from my own practice at home, I tested on my grandchildren, my youngest grandchild, 10 years old. I wanted to see whether in their school they have this exposure to this diversity and acceptance diversity. So I asked, Aiden, do you have many friends in school? Yeah, I have many friends. Who are they? I didn't say, are they Chinese? I didn't say they're Indian. Ask questions like that, you're putting the wrong kind of seeds in their heads. I just asked, who are your friends? What are their names? So they quote like Eugene lah, Krishnan lah. The only thing he didn't quote was a girl's name. 10-year-old, you know. They're very conscious of this. You don't have any friends who are girls? Shyly say, no. Kalau macam itu tu ada lah tu kan. But the fact that he mentioned and rattled off all these multiracial names, I was so happy. Wow, my grandson doesn't recognize races. Those are his friends because that's how we were brought up. And this is what I would like for all of you to do. Those of you who are about to set up families, do not go and plant, kawan Melayu ke? Your Chinese friends ah? You got Indian friends ah? That's how we divide ourselves. And teachers, for example, stop planting this kind of ideas. This Muslim, non-Muslim, you go and eat in his house, non-Muslim. I mean, we went to non-Muslims' homes. They don't serve us pork. For heaven's sake, their mothers knew. They serve us neutral food. They don't even cook the food in their house. They go and buy makcik somewhere nasi lemak or what, if I were to go to the house for lunch. No, they respected the religion. They don't have to be told, I don't take pork, no need. I know if I went to my Chinese friend's house, for sure there's no anything that's offensive to my religion. And of course, if they know there's a Hindu friend, very staunch Hindu friend who came, classmate, for sure there's no beef for her. There'll be something else, not beef lah. For the rest of us adalah beef kan. That's how it was, automatic respect. Now that is what nation building is all about. Not the figures and GDP. I'll tell you why I'm adverse to this, just figures and statistics. Without that, there is no nation. It's just mortar and bricks. And nothing in terms of spirit. You know, you were singing 2 songs just now. Didn't you feel the songs? Did the song ever say, China, Melayu, India ada? Ada kah? In any of the songs ada tak? Did it talk about Perdana Menteri, Timbalan Perdana Menteri ada tak? Tak ada. Dia kata Malaysia. Correct? It didn't say support A, support B ada. Sejahteralah PM, dia kata ada. Ada dia kata sejahteralah VC ada. Ada dia kata sejahteralah Rafidah Aziz ada. Tak ada sejahtera Malaysia. I cannot follow your... Mana dia menyanyi tadi? Ha? Oh, his voice very good. Of course, I have an excuse. Baru operate, so cannot breathe. You see, if you look at these songs that really raise our patriotism, it doesn't say about race or creed, you know. It talks about Malaysia, Malaysia, Malaysia. And yet, why are we introducing all these extraneous elements that divide us, that causes chasms unnecessarily? Why? I don't understand. I really don't understand. But I'm sure we must begin to stop this nonsense. Nurture your children, nurture your siblings in the way that we were nurtured, we the oldies, that now are leaving this nation to you as the people taking over. Another core principle is loyalty. Loyalty is to nation. There's no such thing as loyalty to anyone, because your loyalty to the nation is undoubted. I am loyal to the nation, so I support you. To me, loyalty is not to a person. It's to this nation of ours. Now, if people can separate that, we will have better nation building than image building of individuals. You see how it is, the vicarious loyalty? But some people are so short-sighted. Of course, you get your soru from that fellow, then easier lah. Please, let's be frank about this. Loyalty to nation first. And I tell you, I am nationalistic in that context. My nation, don't you ever say anything that's adverse to my nation, to my country. I'll be the first to lash out. I don't care who you are. If you want to curse individuals who are not doing right, that's your right. But don't ever talk bad about my nation. Not that it's perfect, it's not. But we will explain why it's not perfect. If our growth is below par, why? We must know why, right? Not because there is lack of confidence in the nation, not because there's no governance, that we cannot forgive. But the thing is, be loyal to your country. That's first. Malaysia, many of you are Malaysia. You're proud to be a Malay, so am I. But I'm a Malaysian first. Then why don't you start by saying, I'm Lim from Malaysia? Why do you want to emphasize your Malayness, your Chineseness, your Indianness? So why? Why not project your Malaysianness? Correct? So begin to do that. I know politically some people don't want. I'm a Malay first. I said, mana negeri awak? Tanah Melayu dah tak ada. It's Malaysia now. Why did we have Malaysia? Because we recognize that this belongs to a whole nation of diverse people. Sabah, Sarawak dah masuk. So, be Malaysian first. But be proud to be a successful Malay, successful Chinese, successful Iban. Be proud. Because that's your heritage. But you're more proud of your country, right? The first Malaysian to go to space, the first Malaysian. It's so membanggakan. I don't know how to use that word. You know, every time I read this Malaysian, I don't even care about the race. First Malaysian, wow, it gives you that. I don't know, Tan Sri, I'm sure you agree, right? When we read, we oldies are like that, you know, become tearful very quickly. Wow, the first Malaysian. Oh, it's like my own daughter lah, like my own son, you know, getting that award. Actually, I don't even know them from Adam. That's what I'm trying to impress upon you. There's nothing wrong with saying I'm a Malaysian. And I'm proud to be a Malaysian of the Malay stock, the Chinese stock. Because some of you, your grandparents came from China. My great-grandparents came from Sumatra. I don't know where they were in Sumatra. I don't care. I'm a Malaysian. Tanah tumpah darahku kan. Tanah tumpah darahku is a Malay way of saying when we were given birth by our parents, the water bag burst and a lot of blood came out. That's what it meant, tanah tumpah darah. Not carrying some kris or some sword, killing others. That's not tanah tumpah darah. Yeah, that's a murderous. Tanah tumpah darah means we were born here, given birth to. That's what it meant. So please, when you talk about loyalty to the nation, you remember that once you were beneficiaries of development, all of you, now your turn has come to be contributors to development. I was beneficiary of the colonial government. We had no government then. But I contribute to our own independent country's government. Now I'm retired. So R&D, innovation, being spearheaded by Malaysians in any field. And we're seeing that now. Although these people don't get much media coverage because who's interested in them, better interested in whose shirts is wearing what. But some of these people in medical area have got the latest technology, latest techniques being applied. And they're Malaysians. They're being quoted globally for their expertise. That is what it's all about, nation building. And certainly, ladies and gentlemen, when you have the right core values pervasive throughout any circle of influence of an individual, it will result in the motivation and drive to succeed. It will result in eventually good public governance. So if the person rises up to the top of public governance, he or she becomes good administrators and good governors of the country. Good social behavior, and also you become socially responsible business entrepreneurs. So you're not going to be CEOs who cheat your company, CEOs who cut corners and cheat the public, cheat consumers. You'll be having good social responsibility in the marketplace. So in other words, nation building is about all this coming together so that people avoid becoming liabilities to the nation. Yeah, the physical aspects. So when you talk about groups, I mentioned just now, parents, you nurture your children right. For sure, assets to the nation. And today, it's a very difficult thing to do because parents seem not to nurture children. It's the babies who are nurturing the children. Children will be fed by the... That is a status symbol nowadays. To question anyway. Because we were seeing that they're doing the right thing. So now, this young generation is shaping the marketplace for now and the future. This is the characteristics. So, since you cannot withhold knowledge from them, and they are all ICT savvy, and they get information all online in real time, so the education process and the process of interacting to account what their needs are. It's very fast now. Even in IT, right? Apple comes up every year with something new. Don't talk applications. What was not before has now been overtaken by something new. So because obsolescence is the order of the day globally, our youth must be reminded, don't stay in a rut. Of course, our leaders will say, don't stay in your comfort zone. Move out of your comfort zone. You're nodding to say so? Wrong. How can you tell the young people to move out of their comfort zone? No person in the right mind will want to go out. There must be idiots out there who want to do that. I won't. If I'm uncomfortable, you're telling me to move out of my comfort zone and go into what? Into a rut? You don't give an option. The young wants an option, correct? So, if you can provide access, opportunities for a higher level of comfort zone, every young person will rush for it, right? Betul tidak? That's it. How we even nurture the minds of our young is so important. And then this quote all the foreigners, think out of the box. I said, what stupid box are you all living in? I don't know about the writers of books must be living in some boxes. I don't know. I don't remember. I lived in a very small kampung house. It's hardly a box. At least our old generation before understood what they're talking about. They said, do not be the frog under the coconut shell, right? Why? Because in the kampung, whenever we cut the coconuts into two, and this coconut ni, we pile up. It's a habit like in the kampung, because later on want to make into lamps, want to make into all kinds of things. This coconut shell, we don't throw them away, recycle. We were into recycling long before the word came into vogue. So all these coconut shells, before you kukur, kukur, there's no machine, you kukur, scrape. So you pile them up very high, somewhere near the pokok pisang. And of course some stupid frog jump, and then one coconut shell fall on it. So the frog is under the coconut shell, and for a long time, unless he got out of the shell, its life, its world was a coconut shell. So don't be like katak under the coconut shell, like you don't know anything else. You jump, coconut shell come with you. You jump, unless you jump high enough and throw off the shell. So the old people observed that. So they said, don't be like a frog under the coconut shell, you don't see anything else. Why not we positively say, look at the broader horizon, right? Think beyond your own sphere. I mean, positively tell them, what you have here, like University Malaya lah. Think beyond University Malaya, right? Think global universities, if not regional. What number are you now ranking? You want to tell or not? So if you talk about yourself among Malaysian universities, maybe lah number berapa? Kan, nombor 1 lah kan? Among Malaysian universities. Look at your competitors, apa? What I'm saying is, look regional. You rank still number 1? No. Rank global, I hate to say. Masuk book tak? 155 must be page 62. We want to be the first page of ranking. Buka aja, there we are, right? If I have to go through so many pages, where's number 155? You want to be the top quadrant 20, not the last quadrant 20. Oh dear. You see? You understand what I'm trying to impress on you now? So stop this out of the box thinking. If people tell you, I say, I don't know, I don't live in a box. And stop this about comfort zone. You go to higher comfort zone. You must always recognize, don't be complacent. There's always a better comfort zone that you can aspire to if you want to. If you don't want to, never mind lah. You stay put where you are if you're comfortable. Who cares, right? But I'm sure as somebody proud of your own achievements and your capabilities, you'll want to aspire for better. That's what I think. As at 72, I can go, I can now sleep in, why should I be here talking to you? Saturday, remember Khadijah? Don't thank them, thank me. 72, and thank Tan Sri Rashad. We have all 70, 80s. We deserve our rest, right? I just came out of hospital. I should be snug under my duvet now. Ni baru nak bangun, geliat-geliat ni baru. And yet she makes me come at 9:45 to be at the gate. Why? Because to me, talking to you is enriching for me, because afterwards there will be Q&A and you will be asking me. I have a choice. To be comfortable under my blanket or duvet, or come here and be enriched in my mind. It wouldn't actually make me go higher in my comfort zone. It caused me discomfort, I'm sweating now. But mindset is being enriched. So this is how you should think. And performance benchmarks continue to be global. Again, I want to emphasize, with global benchmarks, it means that the benchmarks for excellence keep going higher and higher. This is what all of you should aspire for, the youth of today. And so, summing up there on that youth aspect, the human resource is undoubtedly the key to the nation's progress for now and the future. No doubt about it. You talk to me about robots. I said the human must make the robot. The human must program the robot, right? The robot doesn't program itself. So without the human, nothing happens. Without the human, no ICT. Without the human, no social media. In other words, you. Talk about youth, you are in fact the population segment. That's the main drivers of our country's growth for the future. So I spoke about the nation building. I spoke about youth. Now let me go to education. There are, to me, four facets to education. One is the system, second structure, third strategies, and fourth is outcomes or goals. That's the way I see it. System, structure, strategies, outcomes, and goals. First rule of this country or any country, never politicize education. Never politicize education. Never use education to get votes from anyone. Never use education as a subject matter to speak to any gallery. Our problem has been this. I had the misfortune of having to teach for 10 years what I call the lost generation of Malays who were not taught in any medium of English, anything at all. By the time they came to my class, I had to have a special class of 300 plus Malays only for them. Can you imagine? I had 1,169 students in the first year. My class was open to engineering, to agriculture, and to science, of course, medical third year. Then I had 350 plus Malay students who didn't understand English. Then I had the rest, 700 plus English speaking. Some Malays, some non-Malays. So I had 3 classes because there was no place until the DTC was constructed for me to teach. So I had to teach like this, one in lecture theatre A, economics, the other one lecture theatre C through video. Of course, they all didn't like it because they couldn't see me. They only heard me and saw me on the screen. They said they couldn't touch me. They were all joking, And then the Malay who didn't understand English, I had to have another class. 3 times. Teach the same subject. I could vomit out, what I taught after the second time already, let alone third time. That was a lost generation. When they went to the government service, they were so lost. They went to private sector. Forget it, the private sector had nothing good to say. So don't repeat that lost generation situation in Malaysia ever again. Let our young people, regardless of race, be conversant in universal language like English. There is no erosion of pride and nationalism understanding English. I can speak English and Malay in the same breath and make people understood. No problem, I can switch. If I could, I would also speak French, but none of you speak French. I also forgot my French. I took French as one subject in university for my final year, mind you. 9 economics, 1 French. Thank God I got a B, otherwise I would have flopped the whole exam. What I'm saying is that national interest dictates that we must be conversant on par with the rest. I always wondered, why do you think Lee Kuan Yew made Malay the national language of Singapore? When Singapore had only this many Malays, correct? Very simple reason. He understood that eventually this region will be a region where Malay is a main language. You have Indonesians speaking Malay. This is conversation Malay lah, not knowledge Malay. Malaysia, you have Brunei, right? Some parts of Thailand as well, and then the new countries, there are some Malay, Cambodia. So he understood if young Singaporeans can understand Malay, communicating with their counterparts in ASEAN is easy. But for official and all that, English is the mainstay of his understanding of each other. That's why you don't lose your Chineseness, your Malayness or whatever by learning English and understanding English, so that it can help you to be more productive. It can help you understand new knowledge. Some people told me early days, what's the problem? We have translators, can translate all the books into Malay. Oh my God. By the time we finish translating, a new book would have come up to debunk the old theory. By the time you go into print, it's already new ideas. Why do we do this 10 years of lost generation? Why? I was very vocal. But I was shot down. We have translation, we have down bahasa and what have you. Okay, go and have your way. I didn't care. When I came into government in my ministry, I had every Friday English classes. I don't care what the policy of the government is in terms of correspondence internally. In my ministry, it shall be English. Because we have to interface with the private sector. We have to interface with the world in our negotiations and so on. I cannot afford to have my staff, whether Chinese or Malay or Indian, very well versed in Malay, bahasa. Even the Chinese are speaking very good Malay, Don't forget, Jawi pun dia pandai. So I don't want our young Malaysians to be able and proficient to speak in English, Malay, and when they are facing the foreigners, they're stuck. They're stuck. They can understand, they cannot answer balik. They can't respond. And how do you argue in negotiations when you can't respond? Wow, how? You can't do it in Malay with the translation, right? Of course, the first few memos I got from senior officers were full of mistakes that I didn't know whether to cry or laugh. There was a memo that says, the benchmarking. Yeah, typo, takkan the officer didn't check, right? I said, which benches are you making? And is it with some tables as well? And of course, they look at me blankly, what is she talking about? But the classic one is warehouse. W-H-E-R-E, house. And I said, thank God the typist didn't put O. And all those who understood English laughed like you did. Because I'm a very happy minister and they're all my friends, all my students. So we had a good laugh and roar, but this guy who presented the paper looked puzzled. Why are you laughing? I said, if you put your typist or you put O there, you know what it is? Prostitute house. Kan brothel dia tak faham. Brothel is another big word. Prostitute dia faham. Prostitute house, whore house. Now you got warehouse, W-H-E-R-E. those were the initial trauma of receiving memos in English. And I spent time correcting the English rather than the substance dulu. But now we have people who are, throw them anywhere. They will be able to negotiate and say what they want to say and make their point for the country. For the country, not to show off their English. To make the point for the country so that we don't get out-negotiated unnecessarily. That's what I mean. And so, education must be never politicized so that we can have the system. For example, the system must have global relevance while still having domestic factors. We must have continued emphasis on English. I don't care what others say. You must have emphasis in the system to meet market demands and requirements of our country moving forward. You must instill a sense of pride through that English knowledge, through the education system, of achieving something that's globally benchmarked. So that system can create the kind of environment suitable for innovation, because we are innovation-driven country soon. And a system of education that allows for the narrowing of divides among schools. Now you have schools that's Bistari, then schools that are not Bistari. I pity those parents whose children are not Bistari schools. How would you feel? So we don't want a system that has chasms and disparities between and among schools. And of course, access to good education. We must have uniform accessibility. And a system of education that allows for the nurturing of the young, not just education. Education must include nurturing. And structure. The structure of the education system must be such that those being educated are imbibed with the necessary skills. First of all, analytical skills. Don't study by rote. Don't study by rote. That's the worst kind. Analytical skills, rationalization of skills, to understand reason. That's how we were educated, Tan Sri. Remember? The English, they drummed into us because we had English masters, English headmistresses, they drum into us. Analytical skills, rationalization skills. And this will straight away complement the IT savviness of the Gen Y, Gen Z. They already have the tools. So you provide them in the school system with a thinking process. So that together with what tools they have, they apply, they become brilliant. They become people who can actually develop and innovate. And of course, when you have schools and education system that needs to nurture the young, you must have a continuous thread of nurturing from primary school to secondary school to tertiary school, or even up to university, the thread of nurturing. Nurturing is not reading and understanding books. Nurturing is what I talked about just now. National pride. All that. That's what I mean, the nurturing part. Education plus nurturing. That's what we need now, most of all. And the next one is strategies. Here, we must make sure that the strategies we use in imparting education and nurturing tallies with what the young generation of today and the future understand, which is the ICT savvy. And to me here, teacher training is crucial. Because without the right kind of teachers being churned out to go and teach in schools, how do you expect any new movements forward? If the teacher training curriculum is not based on ICT, if it is not meant to be interfacing with young people, I don't know, I haven't looked at the teacher training curriculum, but I'm sure there's something wrong there. I was at the hospital yesterday getting my wound dressed, sat next to a lady, she recognized me, hurriedly came next to me. I asked her, where are you from? Because normally these people are from outside, I just met a couple from Kuantan, so I asked her in that context, are you from KL or are you from outside? Seeing this specialist, oh, I'm from KL, I ni teacher biasa je. Wow. Can you imagine? Saya ni teacher biasa je. I gave her a lecture there and then. Forget about this being in a clinic or a hospital. What are you talking? I just met her for the first time, What are you talking about, teacher biasa saya? You know that your role is very, very important. You teach the wrong things to the children in your school, they're finished. Your job is the most important. In Sweden, the teaching profession is number 1. It is so difficult to be a teacher. Thousands apply, they select the best to be teachers. It is not a residual vocation. It's not a teacher aja. In Sweden and the Scandinavian countries, I am a teacher. Not I am a politician. No. I am a ketua bahagian. No. But kat sini, I lectured to her lah. But she didn't take offense because I lectured in a nice way. You first timers, you don't scream at them lah. And I could see that she was moved by that. Because I was a teacher for 10 years in the university. I tried my best. Still, I get some people who didn't. I mean, I'm old. I'm 72. So you do expect the students of mine, right? Now, what I'm trying to say is that if I think myself, Allah, I lecturer je. Wow, I don't have much care for myself, right? No respect for myself, no respect for my job. So for this girl, I had to nicely tell her, yours is the most important job of all. Before these children go out further into the life, what you teach them. And she seemed to absorb what I say. She took photograph and selfie with me at the end, so it's okay. That was my benchmark. Can I have a selfie with you? Peluk I. Okay, that means it's okay lah. She wasn't hurt. Decided to have a selfie. And then another fellow heard what I was saying, came by. You are Rafida Aziz, can I have another selfie? Good. We have selfie in the hospital. So, teacher training is so important. Teachers must be taught how to interface with Gen Y and Gen Z and whatever coming. Otherwise, there'll be disparity between the teachers and the students. And the education will never be complete. And, of course, there must be minimal disparities between the strategies that we teach and nurture in private schools and in government schools. There seems to be disparity now. People are taking out and sacrificing money to send children to private school because they think their nurturing done. So they must watch out that this is not there. And outcomes and goals. This should be beyond purely the academic, in terms of academic performance. I don't care how many A's my children get. I don't care how many A's my grandchildren get. It's not a reflection of them. It's whether false or right, true or false, right? Choose A, B, C. Kadang dia tutup mata, betul. It's how they turn out to be. Of course, understanding is very good. What I'm saying is that if you only guide by that, habis lah. There must be a lot more benchmarking of success. And therefore, when we have about nation building, the outcome should be what you produce from the education system are those who can fit into the nation and the nation's aspirations. The education system in this country must be well ahead of the market demands. We seem to be doing catch-up. We should be preempting market demands so that when the time comes, we are ready. I know, as a minister, I kept being asked, are you able to churn out so many engineers? Are you able to churn out so many IT programmers? I couldn't answer because we didn't have at that time the kind of statistics. Now ada lah, but I'm not sure whether they are the right kind. You can be an engineer, but the right kind must be, right? Not just any engineer, right? Today you have an engineer that's got the bioengineering, right, Prof? Correct? No longer just civil as such. The branches are so specialized now. So are we churning out these people? Engineers who understand intelligent buildings, who understand the use of eco-friendly materials, for example, eco-friendly processes. So if in the university this is not being taught and being recognized by students, they're not going to be all-rounder engineers or anything for that matter. So we have therefore to make sure that the education outcomes and goals fit in with the national objectives. And this is so important to be monitored all the time. I don't know who's monitoring this. We keep launching so many reports. We keep launching so many books. I'm not sure whether the monitoring is done properly. We still see a lot of problems. So, ladies and gentlemen, the bottom line is that education must incorporate nurturing. And I've talked a lot about what nurturing is, and upbringing. That I see as the meaning of education. So that at the end of the day, the youth will understand their roles in nation building, they understand what is nation building, and they understand that they should be assets to the nation, not liabilities. Of course, that's a cliche, but I have to repeat. Don't be assets. Last night, one girl asked me, one of the Ivy League graduates, now, we have politicians who have issues, blah, 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 blah. What do you think? I said the most important thing is for ourselves not to be issues. You should not be an issue. I should not be an issue. Don't talk about politicians, we ourselves can be issues in our own situations, right? You can be an issue as a student. Don't look at politicians having issues. You, if you are the CEO of a company, don't be an issue. You must have corporate governance. So, diamlah dia. It's always there, that fellow, when you have 4 fingers pointing at you. This is what I'm trying to say. You, all of us have our own little role, even the little finger back pointing at us. So I hope that we all love our country, and really when we sing Negaraku, we sing Sehati Sejiwa, we mean it. Yeah, we mean it, not just lip service. Lip sync, they call it. Okay, thank you very much.